Well, howdy, y'all, and welcome to the real backwaters, where the rods are always ready, the water runs deep, and the stories run even deeper. With your host, Daniel Woodcock, bringing you right into the heart of the Southeast, one cast at a time. Now, whether you're drifting down a lazy river in your yak, hunkered down in a John boat, or just dreaming about your next big catch from the comfort of your porch swing, this here's the place for you. We talk fishing, backwaters, bait, and a whole lot of grit. So grab your gear, crack open a cold one, and settle in. You're listening to the real backwaters, where southern waters tell their tales. Let's get it rolling, y'all.
Hey, and welcome back to the Real Backwaters. Today we're diving into some tech. If you're not a tech guru or somebody that looks at maps before you go fishing, well, hopefully you will after this podcast, because we're going to dive into, is tech smarter than the fish? And we're going to be using Google Maps and some fishing apps to find the primo fishing holes here on the Real Backwaters. So stay tuned, and we're going to bring you the tech behind fishing. Hey, and we're back. So what we're going to do is we're going to now take a look at some tech, some maps, some fishing apps as we go through this podcast for the next 20-30 minutes. So, but back in the day when we were a little younger, computers have not hit the market, smartphones hadn't hit the market. We were basing everything over on what we call just hand-drawn maps that your grandparents might have had, mapping things out, or your daddy had a list of secret honey holes that he had mapped out, or your good old fishing buddy had mapped out for you, and the directions. All them old timers would say, well, go down the dirt road about 4 miles till you see the big oak tree there on your right. Turn down the little goat path through the field, and the pond will be there on your left. But nowadays we've got satellite imaging, we've got apps on a mobile phone. Google Maps is constantly doing their aerial recon, driving through neighborhoods, things like that. So we've got an eye in the sky, is what I call it now, for fishing and even other things, but we're talking fishing today. So we're gonna break out with Google Maps first. When I fish, or hunting areas to fish, the first thing I do, Google, because Google is the master search engine nowadays. So, but also I bring in my good old handy dandy Apple iPhone and pull up them apps on the screen, and I like to use Omni Fishing app, but you got Fish Brain, there's a whole lot of Angler, you've got all kind of stuff now that people import information into, tell them that you marking your spot, telling them you caught on a Strike King hybrid hunter, fishing off a ledge, or fishing rocks, fishing grass lines, things like that. But whether you're bank fishing or just farm pond fishing, or launching into a big water reservoir like you big lakes, technology can give you a big heads up. And so we're just lucky enough to kind of have this stuff now, compared to the old timers that used to use flashers as depth finders and fish finders and everything like that. But as far as Google Maps, it's the OG the mapping. I would consider it, because it you can find it anywhere. Um, Google Maps has aerial views. They have historical imaging. They have all your roadways, um, things like that. But let's talk about satellite view for a minute. You're talking about something that's up in space, taking a picture down to the earth, and you can find these rivers, these lakes, these ponds, these coastlines. You can even scroll into some big waterways. I've done it for Clarks Hill, Sinclair, um, golly, Hartwell, and you can kind of look over the historical imagery of this stuff, because when they do lake drawdowns, it is a good thing, right? Because when they do the lake drawdown and the imaging gets captured for that lake drawdown, now you can see where them rocky banks are. You can see where that structure is fallen from the bank, or where people's put Christmas trees and things like that. So you can look for submerged timbers, coves, vegetation lines, docks, every kind of structure there is that fish hang around during certain parts of the year. And you can actually mark that stuff. So you can, if you can, some fish finders allow you to download data from Google Earth into your electronics by SIM cards or lake map cards and stuff like that. But yeah, you know, talking about historical imagery, Google Earth is a great resource that you can look at either on your cell phone, your computer, your tablets, whatever you have, and it's just it's just amazing how you can look at this imagery over a period of time, a 10-year period of, some of this stuff dates 15 years, 20 years. But the imagery, when you start going back into your imagery stuff, your historical imagery, it just won't be as defined as it would be right now, just to let you know. But yeah, I find, especially looking at rivers, um, because if you put in a boat ramp and you're saying, okay, well, I want to fish this stretch of river, these maps kind of help you out with finding. I call them the backwaters of the river, because these sloughs and these little creeks flow either into the river, or they just, when the river's full, it just flows up into a little flooded area. But you can catch fish in there, just like I've done in the past. Fishing the Ogeechee River down here in southeast Georgia. I've found what we call hidden oxbow lakes. It's just where you know the river's kind of washed out this place over a time, and then when the river gets up in the flood stage again, it just rushes water in there, and the fish get trapped in there. So with me, I can pull my new canoe F12 right over some, either if a beaver dam gets built there, or it's just a little muddy bank, you can slide right into that oxbow farm and you can catch decent fish. Uh, I've caught I've caught good bass in there. I've caught good brim, good shell crackers, crappie, any kind of fish you want, man. These little oxbow lakes off the river are excellent places to start. So yeah, so if you can download Google Earth to your phone, you can download the Google Maps to your phone, so you have it handy dandy right there in the palm of your hand while you're fishing, um, things like that. So we're gonna jump into the fishing app world here for a minute. with fishing apps, it all depends on what you're looking for in an app and things like that. But the one that I use mostly is the Omnia app, and they have designed this app. I would say it's probably one of the better apps on the market. Um, yeah, don't hold me to this price, but I think it's like $49 a year, maybe $49 a year, that you can buy a membership into the, you get discounts on buying tackle, shipping, things like that. But with the Omnia app, they really have really developed it into an awesome app. You can get live weather updates. You can create and store your waypoints in there. You can get average temperature summary by the lakes or bodies of water. You can get the barometric pressure on there. You can get current water temperatures and clarity gradients. It does support the depth contours from your Navionics and CMAP stuff. You can get the current wind, speed, direction. You can get the current forecasted for air temperature, precipitation, storm cells. So if you're out, you can, if you're fishing out there and you hear thunder, you can kind of pull this app up, and it'll kind of give you a live update of the weather right there in the palm of your hands. And Omnia fishing really gives back to the anglers as well. And you kind of get gear suggestions organized by lake. So what it is as a fisherman, like I have, every place that I fish, I kind of given what type of fish I catch, what bait I catch it on, what time of the day it was, what the water temperature was, what the water clarity was. So you can kind of give all this information at one time in the palm of your hand while you're fishing. Some other benefits that you get by purchasing the Omnia fishing app is you get same day shipping, you get some free shipping, you get 10% cash back. If they run out of stock and it comes back in stock, you get that alert. You get some exclusive private sales and member only giveaways. So every fisherman likes a giveaway, right? So that's just my top fishing app. So if you're not familiar with Omnia, go to omniafishing.com. You can pull it up you can download the app. You can pull it up on your computer, on your tablet, and check it out. They do have a free version, but a lot of the stuff isn't available to you on the free version. But if you want to test it out, see what it's all about, download the free version. Yeah, and as far as other apps, Navionics, FishBrain, Angler, they're I've not used them as much as the Omnia, but they are available to you. So if you want to check some of them other apps out, feel free to. And so grab your apps that you like, and let's start planning for your first trip. So we're going to give you kind of a breakdown of how to plan for your first trip. So we're going to break it down real simple, step by step, and try to get you on the water in the next week or so. So how and I'll tell you how I do my step by step. First, if if I'm going to like say um, Lake Sinclair up in Millersville, Georgia, it's pretty good, pretty decent lake, pretty decent fishing. So the first thing I do, I kind of want to see. I read fishing reports through the Georgia Outdoor News. I I look online for fishing reports. Um, you can, if you're fishing here in Georgia and you want some good fishing reports, you can always go to Lake Country Fishing, and Mr. Jim over there, he does a real good job of putting what's being caught and how they're being caught on his website. So that's lakecountryfishing.com. But yeah, so I open Google Maps and start scouting potential access points. Looking for boat ramps that aren't very quietly used a lot. Trying to find some real backwater stuff, um, and just fish it. Murder Creek um, is a great place. It's got a small boat ramp. It's got good scenery. You can go upstream. They actually got a little waterfall up there that kind of comes over some rocks there. But that's a creek that flows into Sinclair, and it's off the beaten path. Not going to have a whole lot of recreational boat traffic. A lot of people do kayak up in there, just kind of go up to the falls and kind of see it. But next thing I do is check Google Earth, and the reason why I check Google Earth is for historical low water images, so you can kind of find that structure, them ledges, submerged timber, gravel bars, things like that. And then lastly, I kind of compare Google Maps, Google Earth, and my Omnia Pro fishing app all in one. So I kind of look there and kind of say, okay, well, I want to launch here, I want to fish here for this day. Um, then I try to plan 2 or 3 days out in advance, or even a week in advance, because you never know what the weather's going to do. So you might have to change plans here and there. And also with all this watershed that runs into these big reservoirs, you get muddy water, you get stained water. It all depends on what kind of soil you have around the lakes. But yeah, I kind of mark areas, with markers or waypoints, the areas that I would like to fish, and start there, and just go to that place and start fishing and see what I can get, see if I can catch fish. If so, I'll mark it for next time. But yeah, just use all your technical resources that you have available to you to have a more successful time on the water, and just start doing a little bit more research before you just pick up and go fishing, unless you just want to go sit on the bank and just have a good afternoon. But with these apps and maps, it they won't catch fish for you. So you've got to get you've got to get out there and fish, and do your study, and do your overall thing that you do as a fisherman. If you're a bass fisherman, brim fisherman, catfisher, crappie fisherman, or just overall like to junk fish a little bit. But yeah, technology is a way of life now. So pretty much everybody has technology available to them, and it's It's just among us. It's not going away, unless you just throw it all out the door and say, I'm going back old school. But like I said, here's the thing, y'all. Apps and maps won't catch fish for you, okay? But they will help you fish smarter and not just harder, okay? You still got to learn how to read the currents, feel the bite, you know when to switch baits. But using this tech is just another tool in your bag or in your tackle box, right? Like your rod, your reel, and that lucky hat that you wear. You call it your fishing hat. That's the only time you wear it, when you go fishing. So just take this time that you've listened to the podcast, kind of look at Google Maps, look at the historical Google Earth stuff. Choose your favorite fishing app. Omnia Pro, FishBrain, Angler. Use your Navionics or your Sea Maps, whatever. So when you're just sitting at home scrolling, everybody does that thumb scroll now. Open the maps instead. Open the maps. Plan your next trip, and just find some backwater that you've never fished before, and just plan a trip to go. And if you catch fish, please thank them satellites for taking the imaging for you. So stop the scrolling, open your maps, and plan your next trip. This has been the Real Backwaters. Tight lines, smart searches, and may your GPS coordinates that you find and mark on your smartphone or your computer. Catch them all. And as always, wear your PFD while you're out on the water.